Hi, I'm Tracy Cardwell from LPCiminelli and the host of the Buffalo Public Schools renovation program, Making It Happen. The Making It Happen show is a monthly news show that brings you information about the individual schools that are being renovated, along with information on opportunities for minority and women business enterprises and opportunities for our Buffalo Public School students. LPCiminelli is the program manager for the renovation project. They are also the producers of the Making It Happen show. Right now I'm standing in Central Park Plaza, and you can see there's a lot of rubble around. Looks a lot different than it did, say, about a year ago or even 2 years ago. If you didn't know, if you didn't hear, LPCiminelli purchased the 27 acres right here in Central Park Plaza, and we are so proud of what is developing, not just on this 27 acres, but in this entire neighborhood. So we're going to kick off the show today with a community forum that took place at Buffalo Public School number 61. It involved residents from the Fillmore, Leroy, and Central Park Plaza area. They gave us ideas of how they would like to see their neighborhood transform, and we also shared information with them. It was a great event. We had an excellent turnout, so we just wanted to share some highlights from that meeting. Then we're going to head over to Emerson, where we had a wonderful team session. We talked to students about interviewing processes. We had our very own Vice President of Human Resources, Kirsti Hunt, give our students tips on what they can do when they go for interviews, or resume tips, all very, very important information. And then at the end of the session, we had mock interviews. Students really gained so much information from this session, and we can't wait for you to see it. Thanks so much for joining us, but don't go away, because we'll be right back.
We've got a little different format tonight than we did last time. A lot of the same information, a lot of new information, a lot of information that came from your past ideas and thoughts. What we're going to do tonight to kind of keep things moving along is, when you come through the doors, if you would see Tracy, she's going to kind of group you into little groups, and we have people in there, volunteers, that are going to act a little bit like a tour guide to sort of walk you through what you're looking at and help you to understand it, so you can keep moving along and everybody gets a chance to look at all the information we've brought tonight. Then we're going to bring you upstairs for a brief presentation, and then we're going to come back down and give you a chance to look at it all over again. So if you're all ready to get started, again, I want to thank you for coming, and look for Tracy when you come through the door, and we'll get things moving. Good evening, everyone. If everyone can please take a seat, we would like to get started. We've got a lot of ground to cover tonight, a lot of interesting things to show you. I guess I'd always like to start by thanking you for coming out here on this cold night tonight. And we're glad you're here, and glad you're all part of this process. A lot of you are here for the second time, and it's been actually met with some of you even more than that, if you remember the block clubs and other organizations that we've been meeting with. But in part of our planning process, this is what we call the public outreach process. And it's been very beneficial to us, and you'll see later how it's going to be very beneficial to you. We've gone through a lot of information. We've taken all the information and ideas that you've given us, that you've endorsed, that you've told us you liked, and we've compiled that information onto some of the boards that you've seen tonight. And we got even better input from that now. And we just want you to know that what you're doing tonight, the exercise you're going through tonight, is more about what you like to see and what you think you would like to have in this neighborhood. As you can see, we've expanded the boundaries of this beyond just the 27 acres of the Central Park Plaza property. We showed you images of what we would hope that would start to be created along Fillmore Avenue. Some of the single-family house images that you saw tonight, we would hope would be utilized in some of the infill lots that are created throughout the neighborhoods that are vacant lots now that, you know, we feel as though infill housing is an important part of this project. This is a long process. The planning is very critical to this, and it's very important that we seek your input, and we really appreciate hearing from you. You know, this is a pretty big endeavor for the city. I was asked by the media tonight, and my comment to them was, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I think this is probably one of the largest private housing development projects to happen in the city of Buffalo, I think possibly ever, that was not done either by a government agency or a housing authority. So that's why we realized to make this venture successful, we can't stop at Central Park. It has to go beyond and reach out into the entire neighborhood. And that's why we're doing this with, you know, the city and with our planners and with our architects and engineers to design something that not only works for Central Park, but works for the entire neighborhood. And we're going to talk more about that later as this information is all presented to you.
My name is Daria Pratcher, and I am a resident of Fillmore Leroy area. I live on Victoria. I've been affiliated with FLAIR, Fillmore Leroy area residents, for maybe 11 years on the board of directors, and now currently as the housing director for Fillmore Leroy area residents. Ciminelli purchased the Central Park Plaza. Being a partner with the city of Buffalo, with Ciminelli, with other developers that are looking at our neighborhoods, and making certain that the housing stock that is good, decent housing for everyone, for those who choose to rent, for those who choose to buy.
Yeah, briefly, we're just going to spend a few minutes about where we are and why this is such an important time. As Daria said, it's a very special time of opportunity. We haven't seen in a couple of generations where there's a lot of interest from a lot of different sectors for reinvestment in this neighborhood. For residents here, we can work by car. Perhaps you need to. Perhaps the bus or the metro doesn't go where you need to go at the time you need to go. Perhaps it doesn't feel safe enough, or it's too long or unpleasant to walk. And so, you know, that means, yes, we need, on the one hand, to make it easier and more convenient to use transit or biking or walking so that people have choices, but it also means we need to continue to make this a convenient place to be and travel by car as well. The more households you have, it's a big difference in terms of supporting stores, and also just bringing community together. Whether it's kids or seniors or parents, there are a lot of people who can get together and use the park spaces to keep the streets active.
Basically, in terms of the architecture, we really haven't designed anything per se. We've gathered a whole bunch of examples that we refer to as precedents of buildings that have been built, all like within the last 10 years. And you'll see a whole bunch of variety, and I think variety is one of the keys that we want to touch on. in terms of the architecture. We'll have a whole bunch of different residential styles. Talk about scale and community identity. I think that's really important. So hopefully you'll see some examples, and maybe you already have if you've been walking around in the halls outside and seen some that you like. So we'll try to incorporate as much of what you like into what we're going to design.
You heard from the architect. Now, the architect's job to do is to design the building. I saw some of the sketches that were through here, the colored sketches and people on the streets and everything. And those are some of the street views that we're working with. And when we're working on designing things like that, you're trying to figure out how far back from the curb the building should be, and you work on what's called the massing of how the building should be vertically, and how the roof should be treated, and how the porches should be treated. And that's what the architect will do, along with the planner, obviously, but to create the buildings and figure out where the buildings should go. That sketch that you saw us sitting around the table was overlaid to a plan that we've already looked at. That's how these things evolve. You just start sketching, you put the trace paper over it, and you sketch over something else, and you look at how this works and how that works and how this fits and how that fits in blocks. And then you kind of figure out what those blocks should look like, and that's why we've asked you to tell us what you like and don't like about all the images that you saw. How all of that comes together is what we will be working on next as this process evolves. So with that, I'd like Mark and Wendell to talk a little bit about how they do what they do in the process.
Thank you, John. Good evening. Well said, John. Thank you for that. And as many know, Buffalo has a long history of wonderful park development, going back to the Olmsted Park, and Olmsted himself talking about the parks being the lungs of the city. They're important to the development of our city and to the community and to the quality of life. There are certainly many other kinds of green space. You have your large community parks, but you have playgrounds, medium, smaller pocket parks, and they're all really important, all critical to adding to that quality of life of the city. Those are important things that we are going to be considering as we build and design your green spaces. But what we'd like you to do this evening is help us envision that. Tell us, as you look at the boards and the various pictures, these were just some of them tonight, what appeals to you? What do you like? We'll put all that into consideration, and that's why we look forward to the next hour and looking at how you respond with your green dot.
Pretty much hope you enjoyed everything you saw tonight. You can hold back your applause. But we're very excited. Thank you. We are very excited about this, and we think we're starting to create all the right ingredients to now start to put this all together into something that will just culminate into an image and a vision that will make sense to everyone. So please feel free to go back out in the corridors. We'll be out there to answer any questions you have and give us more information. Give us more of your thoughts. Thank you.
TEAM stands for Technical Engineering Architectural Mentoring Program. Welcome you. This is the 7th session for April 2014. We've got a great session in store for you. We have 2 speakers. One is from LPCiminelli. She is the Human Resources Vice President, and she's going to talk to you about interviewing skills. When you go on a job site and you want to interview for a particular job, she's going to give you some great pointers. Then afterwards, we're going to have a mock interview session. We did this last year with our team students, and it went over really well. So we want to repeat that this year. Okay? Second speaker is going to be from Johnson Controls. Johnson Controls is LPCiminelli's subcontractor who did all of the district-wide technology in all of the Buffalo Public Schools. And without further ado, I will introduce our first speaker, Ms. Kirsti Hunt from LPCiminelli.
Thanks, Tracy. And thank you all for having me. This is very exciting, and this is actually great timing for me because we just finished interviewing for our college intern program. And just to kind of give you an idea of how competitive our intern program is for college students, keep in mind this is a full summer internship. It's 40 hours a week, so the interns start in mid-May and go all the way until the end of August. So they work full-time at LPCiminelli. We only bring on about 8 students for the summer, so it's very competitive. And we had over 200 applicants for the program. So I'm lucky enough as the VP of HR to look at every single resume that comes through the door, and that's a lot. And not only do I look at all the resumes, once we determine the group that we want to interview, they have to interview with me first. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about interviewing because it's so, so important. And I gave you a handout, this LPCiminelli, it's interview tips. And I recommend that you save this because when I interview these college students, and even when I interview people for full-time jobs with us, and people who are out of college and have been in the workforce, I think to myself, I really want to give them this on their way out so the next time they could do better. Because people really need a lot of help with interviewing. It's so, so important. I can't stress that enough because you only get one chance to make that great first impression. So first off, you want to think about how you want to dress. You know, it's all great to be casual with your friends and, you know, when you're hanging out, but you definitely get judged on that very first impression on what you're wearing. So you want to make sure that you have something neat, clean, that it's pressed and ironed. I've interviewed lots of people come in just looking like all wrinkly, and that just doesn't leave a very good first impression. So you want to have a collar. If you're a guy, you should wear a tie, a suit if you have one. For a woman, you don't have to wear a skirt. Dress pants are fine, but you want to wear something nice and professional looking. And every workplace is a little bit different, so it's hard to know when you go for an interview how casual or dressy the workplace is, but always dress up if you're concerned. You want to make sure that you're paying attention. A lot of times I might say something and then I'll say, do you have any questions? And then they'll ask me something that I already told them. So make sure that you're kind of paying attention and even write that down. Maybe if it's a key point, you could write that down. And then you also want to make sure that you get a business card or make sure you have their name and information to write a thank you note. The questions, I'm actually going to give you another handout on some questions. Questions can be a little bit tricky because you never really know what you're going to get. There's a lot of information out on the web about different kinds of interview questions, so you can really kind of study up beforehand. But some common ones are things like, what are your strengths? What are some things you'd like to continue to work on? And you always want to have those ready. And even the weakness question, you want to kind of spin those around to be a positive. You might have to do like an online personality test. Again, always these things, just be yourself, be honest, be comfortable. In any type of situation, that's the best thing you can do. Don't try to be something that you're not, or try to answer the questions that you think that that's the way they want them to be answered, because then you just trip yourself up, and that doesn't end well. So what I have for you as well is this handout. It has a car on it. It's the CAR method. And these are some things that you can do in advance to prepare for your interview, those situational or behavioral type questions. And what the CAR method is, it's a challenge, an action, and result. So the challenge is an example of the situation that ended in a positive outcome. So you want to think about a situation that was a challenge. The action is what you did. And then the result is what happened because of your action. So if you go through a few of these, so say you were going to apply for that customer service job. I mean, just use like a McDonald's or Burger King or anything. Those are very, very customer service focused jobs. So you know when you interview, that's probably one thing they're going to be looking at. So think of things that you've done that you could answer. So if, you know, a challenge like I used before, the challenge was an irate customer, what you did and what were the results. Did you say you have a question?
The behavioral question.
Yes.
What if like you're stuck on it and like you don't remember?
If
Like,
you,
what is that bad or?
it's not horrible, but I always think make something up. I mean, worst case, you know, it really is. I mean, it sounds bad, but really, I would think make something up. Like you had to do something. Even, you know, you could just kind of say, well, this isn't exactly, might not be exactly what you're looking for, but you know, when I was babysitting my little brother, I did this. Like you can usually kind of just think on your feet and think of something that might kind of apply. All right, well, hopefully all of you will get great jobs and have great interviews. So, but if you ever have questions, feel free to call me. I'm happy to look at resumes too.
If you need help with your resume, follow those instructions that are there on that pink sheet. Please email me if you need help. Okay, you can also email me your resume. I would love to take a look at it, and I would tweak it for you, get it prepared for you, and this is what I do. I love to help the students to get your resumes in place so when you go out for your job.
Hello.
Hello.
And what's your name?
Caleb, too.
Caleb. Hi. Kirsti Hunt. Nice to meet you. Well, thanks so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it. We looked at your resume and we think that you had some skills that we were looking for, so we wanted to bring you in today to learn a little bit more about your background and your experience. So the format for the interview, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then I can tell you a little bit about the company and the position, and then answer any questions that you might have. But feel free to ask questions as we go along. So why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself?
I went to school at Hutch Tech for engineering. I graduated.
Perfect. Did you have any outside interests?
I played baseball for the school. I was in band, concert band, played the drums.
Great. Great.
Hi, nice to meet you, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky. My name is Dolly Randall.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm the president of Cassidy. Why don't you have a seat? Now, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Do you have a resume with you?
At my table, yeah.
At your table? Okay, I do have your email copy. Once the interview is over, if you can please pass your hard copy over, that would be great. How did you find out about this position?
My friend told me about it.
Your friend told you about it. Okay, well, what position are you applying for? I actually have two here.
Okay.
What position are you looking to go into? I do have the administrative position, and I also have an on-site compliance monitoring
The
position.
on-site position?
The on-site?
Yes, on-site.
Okay, so what do you know about the construction field? Tell me a little bit about it.
It's very hands-on, using your hands. You have to know what you're doing, budget your time. Have to be able to work well with other people on site. And I'm that way, so I'm very good team worker.
Hello.
Hi, hello. My name is Dolly Randall. I'm the owner of Casney.
Nice to meet you. I'm Alexa.
I'll have a seat there. Now, it's great to meet you, Alexa. I am really urgent to find an administrative clerk. Do you have any experience in administration?
I do. My previous job was a secretary, so I'm pretty good with communication
Wow,
skills. And
that's
stuff.
great. What type of company was it?
It was a lawyer's office.
Oh, that's even better. Okay, and how about your filing skills?
My filing skills are pretty good. I had to do a lot of filing there with a lot of different, like, lawyers, like a lot of the different cases we had to keep very organized because some of them we would have to go back to. So
Right.
you always had to know where your stuff was and what cabinets to keep put in. So very good organizational skills, I would
Oh, and it sounds like you're detail-oriented also, are you?
say. Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Well, how soon can you start?
I can start as early as 2 weeks, which is my last job. And I gave them a notice of my absence. So I have 1 more week with them, but then after that I'll be fine.
Okay, if you leave your resume and your references with me, I would love to check your references, and if they are checked out, I will call you back in for a second interview.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. Let's welcome Johnson Controls, please.
Thank you for inviting us to your team meeting. And today is April 22nd, 2014, and as you can see from the agenda, we're running just a little behind, nothing that we can't catch up with. John Maier and I both work for Johnson Controls, and we'll give you just a little background on Johnson. We're a Fortune 50 company. We have about 170,000 people employed around the world, and we're in just about every country around the world. Today we're going to be talking about what we do in the United States. Johnson Controls has primarily 4 business divisions that you can see on your board here. Automotive, seating, and interiors. And what we mean by that is obviously interiors and seating, but we also do a lot of the cockpit and dashboard electronics. So there'd be anything that's displayed on your car dashboards for certain manufacturers is provided by Johnson Controls. And what we do for customers is similar to what we did for Buffalo Public Schools over the last 10 years or so. Has everybody noticed that the schools have changed over the past 10 years? What they look like internally, how they were totally redone. You see cameras on the exterior of the building, plus on the interior. You see people using access control, present a card to get into a specific room or into the building. That's what Johnson did for the security end of our business with Buffalo Public Schools. And on the temperature control side, we provided some mechanical equipment, brand new mechanical equipment to heat and cool the building, as well as temperature control to keep the rooms comfortable and conducive for education for your use. And number two, to keep the cost down with reference to what it costs to heat and cool a building.
So with that, we have a number of different trades and a number of different, basically trades, if you want to call it that, that'll work on that. Steam fitters will go out there to diagnose and install. Electrical engineers or electricians will go out and also do some diagnostic. The engineering side of it will design the load factors as far as, what type of electrical service is needed for those chillers and those pumps. What type of electrical systems are going to be needed for the control side. Is it 24 volts? Is it 110? Is it 4160 coming in from the power plant? So that's, electrical engineers are going to figure all of that out.
Take a building's cost per square foot, what it costs to run a building, and really hone that down and get it as efficient as possible. From running heating, air conditioning, ventilation, exhaust fan, lighting. Pretty much anything that utilizes electricity in a building.
Hey guys, that is a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the information about Central Park Plaza and the Leroy Fillmore area. I'm really excited when I come here, when I drive by and I see all the progress that's happening, not just here again on 27 acres, but just in the neighborhood overall. So I'm really hoping that you gain some information, and we really look forward to the progress that this area is going to see going forward. Also, don't forget we are on YouTube. Go to YouTube, type in LPCiminelli's Making It Happen. There you'll be able to view all of our past and current shows. And our Facebook friends, don't forget to check our Facebook page periodically. Again, it's LPCiminelli's Making It Happen. We post any type of community events that's coming up or opportunities, so make sure you check in periodically with that. Any questions, comments, or suggestions, there's the number right there. Give us a call. Thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, let's keep making it happen.